Okay, moving on. Question number 6 comes in here from Mali. Hi there, Mali. Thank you for your question and for being part of the amazing WiggyWam community. So Mali says, I'm looking for advice on how to tackle issues with the property that I'm renting. I've recently discovered the landlord should do a yearly gas safety check. They did this once back in 2020 when a letting agent managed the property. I've installed my own carbon monoxide alarms as I believe it's a silent killer. The conservatory is full of black mould and condensation that drips down the walls, also in the hallway. Legally, is it the landlord's job to fix this or mine? I'm afraid to bother the landlord for fear of being evicted or him putting the rent up, but the problem is getting progressively worse with the weather. Any help gratefully appreciated. All right then, Mali. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you're in that position. As a tenant, it's so frustrating sometimes when you're in that kind of situation where you don't want to upset the landlord because you do have these fears, and it's quite natural as a tenant because you don't feel as though you have security of 10 years, or is the sort of convoluted technical name for it, but you know it's not your property effectively, so you're renting it, and you do feel, oh my goodness, well if I raise these issues, are they going to kick me out? The important point to say about this, Mali, there's two very serious issues here that need to be addressed. First and foremost, a landlord should be doing by law an annual gas safety check. That's not up for discussion. It's not up for argument. That's the law, and he's opening himself wide open to prosecution. Now, it is one of these things that unfortunately is easily missed or can be easily missed. It depends on how many properties the landlord's got and whatever else they've got going on in their lives. It may not be intentional, but it is worth flagging it with them that this gas safety check needs to be done. There is a suggestion in your question that the property used to be managed by a letting agent, and that's now not the case. So it's worth raising it with them. What I would do in your instance, Mali, is I would give the landlord a call rather than doing this via text or email, which can come across as a little bit cold, a little bit impersonal, and could potentially lead to things being taken out of context. So just give them a call and just say, look, I'm really sorry to do this, but I've got a couple of things that I just want to bring up with you because I'm not sure whether they might have been missed or you may not know about them. First of all, is this gas safety check? And it might be something that, the landlord's gravely sorry about and goes, oh my goodness, it completely slipped my mind. I'm so sorry. I thought it had been sorted out. Let me get onto that straight away. I'll deal with it. Now, the second issue that you've raised is this black mold, of course, and condensation issue. I'm not entirely sure how this is actually being created as an issue, but it sounds to me as though there could be a lot of moisture present in those particular areas. You mentioned the hallway, and you also mentioned the conservatory. That is a potential health hazard, depending upon how bad it is. If you've got water running down the walls, it suggests as though there could be bigger issues, whether it is defective rainwater goods, for example, whether it's a burst or leaky pipe that's causing the issue, or whether or not it is lack of ventilation, purely something that is causing the issue. And the thing that black mold is quite a big topic at the moment because there was a young toddler whose name, unfortunately, I don't remember. This was actually literally on the radio, I think, yesterday or today, and they were talking about this as a potential health hazard, and indeed it is if it's too far advanced and it's too serious an infestation. You may want to, if it's not too bad, you may want to look at, maybe mixing a little bit of bleach up in a little bit of hot water or warm water, and then just lightly applying it to the surface and gently scrubbing until the mold has actually disappeared. That might be one way to approach it. If it's too bad an issue, i.e., it looks like there's a real serious buildup of black mold in one particular corner or one area, then I would raise it as an issue. Now, again, this might sound crazy what I'm about to suggest, but it is worth contacting the landlord first and letting them know that this is an issue, because some landlords don't know. If your landlord's anything like me, when we used to hand over a property to a tenant, we would want to facilitate what's known as quiet enjoyment. And so, the property would be handed over and we would literally leave the tenant to it and treat it as their own home and get on with living in it. And I'll never forget the first property that I bought. We did a really good job, renovated it all, did a lot of replastering, put new double glazed windows in, put a new central heating system in. I mean, we did the works, right? This property I thought was really nice when we handed it over. I was really disappointed that that we had to hand it over because it was such a nice job when we'd done it. But we handed the property over, and after I think it was about 9 months, I got a call, and this was before I started using a letting agent, and they said, "I'm really sorry, but we've got a bit of a problem." And I said, "Can you come?" They said, "Can you come and have a look?" I said, "Yeah, of course, no problem. I'll come round." And the property had actually developed in the bedrooms this black mold issue. And what had happened, because we took an older property, and we'd sort of decreased the ventilation through new double glazed windows, and we'd increased the moisture content because there was a central heating system, and the tenant was using that to dry clothes and all the rest of it. All of a sudden, in the bedrooms, it started to build up this black mold, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Called my mate Phil, who was in the damp proofing game, and said, "Phil, can you come and have a look at this?" And he said, "Yeah, we just need to install a ventilation system." So they came in, they did a bit of a cleanup work, they installed a ventilation system into the roof space. And once there was that flow of air through the property, it cured the problem. There was never an issue with it again. And it may well be that, you know, there's either a source of moisture which is causing the excess moisture in the walls, which needs to be addressed first and foremost before anything else. And then secondly, either an increase in ventilation or an increase in warmth or heat. I'm guessing that the conservatory hasn't got any heat in it, etc., which is probably causing part of the problem. But give it a good clean up and see if that works. Or if it, as I say, if it's too far gone, call let the landlord know in any event. But if it's too far gone, they may need to get an expert in to address the problem. The one thing I will say is, assuming the landlord's cooperative and there seems to be no real issues between the two of you, give them a couple of days to get this organised and get people on the phone coming out to see you and all the rest of it. If you don't hear back with them within a couple of days, give them another follow-up call, or just say, "Just letting you know, I haven't heard anything. Just wonder if you can chase it up for me." And then I would give them the third bite of the cherry, which is, "Okay, I really need you to address this. And if you don't, I'm going to have to take it further." And that would be to then contact the local authority. If you haven't heard back from the landlord and they haven't addressed these issues, then it would be to contact the local authority housing officer, or housing safety officer, as they're sometimes called, and then just file a complaint with them about what's going on with issues, because like black mold, which is fairly topical in the news at the moment, they're fairly quick to react on it. And the fact that the gas safety certificate has been outstanding for 2 and a bit years now, they're probably going to jump on that fairly quickly as well. They have more powers of enforcement to get the landlord to rectify these errors. And that would also give you a case to not be thrown out of the property, as it were. The landlord would have to be then very careful about how they go about through serving notice and then looking to evict you from the property. Obviously, they can't just turn up and throw you out. That's no longer the case in any stretch of the imagination. But the point is, you're trying to get this resolved. There is, unfortunately, a lot of bad press about landlords at the moment, unfortunately, for a lot of reasons. And interesting, listening to this radio article this morning, they were talking about black mold in residential properties, but they were actually talking about social housing providers. And they'd put the survey out to all the social housing providers in the UK about black mold, and only a third of them responded. So they were saying, well, that's pretty terrible that this is their job to actually sort out, and none of them are actually responding to our survey. And the results we've got back from the third that did respond were pretty dire. So I hope that helps, Mally, to get the information that you want as quickly as possible from your landlord to get the support that you need. It may be very innocent that the landlord just doesn't know anything about this, and by you bringing it to their attention, best case scenario is they're going to deal with it very quickly, and they're going to be very apologetic, and they're going to straighten things out for you as soon as possible. All right. So I hope that helps, Mally. Thank you for your question, and wishing you the best of luck. If there's anything else you need from us, please do get in contact with me and let me know. All right. Thanks very much indeed.